Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So I'm just going to give you some latest news regarding Ed Woodward and Ole Gunnar Solsjaker, and here's lots of other things to currently talk about. So according to recent reports, Ed Woodward has given the sack verdict to Ole Gunnar Solsjaker, and Ed Woodward has assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe despite our disastrous start to the season, because we are enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years, and the last time we had as bad a start to a season as this was back in 1989. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under intense pressure at the football club after we've only won 3 of our opening 11 games in the Premier League so far this season, and we've only registered 13 points from a possible 33, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards, and we are 10th in the league at the moment. We are sitting around just 4 points above relegation, so you can quite frankly say at the moment, we are in a relegation battle, and we are 10 points behind top 4. So I've actually fully disregarded that top 4 and that, because I did say if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was to remain at Manchester United, I said we have to get the top 4 this season, because I did say at the start of this season that our expectations this season will be to get into that top 4. So in that aspect, we can get back into the Champions League. Solskjaer, maybe here until January or until the end of this season, but one thing I can definitely assure that he will not see out his three-year contract, because obviously when he got the job permanently, Solskjaer had been given him a 3-year contract. But Ed Woodward insists anyway, he's 100% backing Solskjaer. I think Solskjaer still has the same perception, he insists he's still the right manager to elevate Manchester United forward. Obviously they are making plans for the January transfer window, because we are all aware that further more investment is needed in the squad, and a massive rebuild is needed at the football club, because there is still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. Manchester United need a midfielder. Some people believe we need 2 midfielders, but we definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We also need a striker. Maybe we need 2 attackers. Someone that can come in, that can assure us goals, someone who can be effective in the box, and someone who can create chances, because there is a lot of aspects of our game that we do need to improve on, and one of them is creating chances, because in the vast majority of the games this season, we've struggled to create chances in that, and some shades replicate last season, because last season we didn't score enough goals. But we just don't seem to have that clinical element, and that is definitely an element of concern. And since the departures of Lukaku and Sanchez, we have looked very, very exposed in that attacking line. It's good that Anthony Martial has now returned, and he's regained form again since his recovery from injury, and he obviously adds a bit more inspiration in that attacking third in the pitch. But yeah, we've definitely got to recommend the striker in. But I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. But I did say, our recruitment has definitely got to improve, because analysing our recruitment, it's been very, very poor. Not only recently, for several years, it's been very, very poor, and the depth in our squad isn't good enough. But I think it's going to be hard for us, to get the right calibre players to Manchester United next year, reflecting on our inconsistency in that. So it's going to be really, really difficult, and this is why Solskjaer is pessimistic about our January signings and that. This is why he's very, very pessimistic. But there is the vast majority of Man United fans now demanding Solskjaer out of the football club. Don't get me wrong. Us getting rid of Solskjaer now or just before Christmas probably wouldn't solve a lot of problems with the football club anyway. There is obviously a list of managers on our agenda, who could replace Solskjaer in the football club. But like I've said to you guys on my recent videos, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. I think Solskjaer needs to go. I think the coaching staff aren't good enough. I still think there's certain players here that are no longer good enough to represent the football club. Despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, I still believe there is more players that need to depart the club next year. I think you could arguably say that Manchester United need a director of footballing. We need someone to come in that can oversee our transfer business, someone who would be reliable to oversee our transfer business, and someone who obviously has got, you know, the right philosophy for Manchester United, someone who can obviously recommend the right calibre players in to the football club. Obviously, there was quite a few former Man United players linked with the director's role during the summer. Obviously, there was speculation about Edwin van der Sar the other week, but I did say that's one of the structural changes that we do need to see at the football club. But I think, you know, due to our inconsistency, you know, for the vast majority of this season, I think, you know, everyone is to blame. But from my perception, I think the vast majority of the blame stems from the board, because, you know, the board have been a liability for several years. The board didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, you know, during the course in the summer. And I think, you know, our current board does need to go, and we need to recommend a new board in. I think also Solskjaer's accountable, you know, for some of our inconsistency this season. He's definitely accountable for that, because obviously a lot of people talk about Solskjaer being tactically naive, and he has been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. You know, obviously some of his team selections, some of his substitutions and that are questionable. So, you know, these are the element of concerns I have got about Solskjaer. You know, don't get me wrong, you know, in that 4-game period, you know, when we obviously, you know, as well won 3 on the trot and drew 1, you know, I thought, you know, we showed them a lot of tactical flexibility, and I did credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, in them 4 games, because it seemed like Manchester United were on the comeback in them 4 games. You know, we got a good draw against Liverpool, we drew 1-1. You know, we won away at Partizan Belgrade 1-0. You know, we beat Norwich 3-1. I've got to say that's the best performance of the season. And, you know, we beat Chelsea, you know, in the Carabao Cup 2-1. And that was also another good performance from Man United. And in that 4-game period, I actually, you know, saw a variety of changes in that, but obviously we lost to Bournemouth by 1-0 last week, and so obviously now reflecting on that, Solskjaer is back under intense pressure at the football club. But for me, you know, he's just not good enough to be a manager, and like I've said to you on my recent videos, Solskjaer hasn't got that managerial experience to the highest level. You know, he hasn't got any intuition on how to manage a big football club, especially like Manchester United, despite the fact that he does know the traditions of the football club. Because, you know, Solskjaer had great credentials as a player, because, you know, Solskjaer was a long servant in Manchester United. You know, he served around 11 years at the football club. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance, but my element of concern about him is he just isn't good enough to succeed as a manager, because obviously before he was at Man United, you know, he was at Mould. Before he was at Mould, you know, he had a really short tenure with Cardiff, and he only managed around, 29 or 30 games for Cardiff, but obviously, you know, ended up getting Cardiff relegated. This is why he got sacked, and certain Man United fans fear that some Man United fans fear that he could replicate at Man United what he did do with Cardiff, because I don't think we'll go down, like I've mentioned, the club's too big, and, you know, there's too much money and, you know, into the football club, so I don't, you know, see that happening. But, you know, I'm shell-shocked, you know, where we are, because I did say at the start of this season that, you know, I expect Manchester United to enjoy a better season this season, you know, than what I enjoyed last season. I still knew this season that we wouldn't win the league or mount many kind of title challenge up. I did definitely assure that, despite the 3 signings that were recommended into the club during the summer, because it's a long process, and you know, we're gonna have to get the right calibre players in, and that, you know, if we are going to be future title contenders. And I did say our aspirations will be that top 4 for the next couple of seasons. But, you know, in a way, I do feel sorry for Solskjaer, because I think the club anywhere have put him in a very, very difficult position. And, you know, I think Manchester United have made several mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years. And this is probably one of the main factor reasons why we have been a toxic football club. I don't like the way the football club's been run in the last 6 or 7 years. But yeah, and one of the mistakes was giving Solskjaer the job. You know, we should have never, ever, you know, give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. You know, we should have waited until the end of last season, or we should have waited at some point until this season to decide or not, you know, whether he would be the right candidate for Manchester United. Now, obviously, Solskjaer has obviously been at the club now overall for around 11 months. So he's been at Manchester United just under a year, as you know, Solskjaer, and obviously he's been permanent boss for around 8 months or so now, and obviously for the vast majority of the 8 months, obviously, you know, he's enjoyed a difficult time with Manchester United, you know, prior to them current 4 games. You know, it's totally comparison to what I saw, you know, while Solskjaer was the interim manager, because, you know, he actually, you know, did really, really well when he was the interim manager. You know, he got the best out of these group of players. You know, the results were good, the performances were good, and he exceeded expectations. And in that 3-month period, I had different perceptions on Solskjaer then, because I thought then he was the right man to elevate Manchester United forward, because he won his first 8 games. You know, then we went and won 14 out of 19 in total. But yeah, everything has just seemed to have all gone wrong, basically. Everything has just seemed to have all gone wrong, basically. But like I said, reflecting on the size, the potential, the history in that, and the money that's been invested into this football club, we should be much more of a commanding position, than winning now. Like I said, some aspects of me credit Solskjaer. He's got, a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players. Also, too, he recommended 3 good players to the squad during the summer. But he's just not good enough, to be elevate Manchester United forward. He hasn't got any credentials as a manager, and I hate to say that because I do love him a lot. And I think the only reason Manchester United have stuck with Solskjaer for this present time is because obviously he was a club legend. But disregarding him being a club legend and if it was another manager, I think they probably would have been gone by now. But Manchester United anywhere are not really known for a sacking football club. We haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers, despite the fact that 3 managers have already left since since the Alex Ferguson era. Moyes got sacked after 10 months. You saw Louis van Gaal get sacked after a year or so, despite the fact he won the FA Cup. Then obviously Jose Mourinho got sacked from the football club after he had a 2.5-year tenure at Manchester United, despite the fact he won the Europa League and the League Cup, of course, in his first season. But yeah, we won't win the league for at least the next 3 to 4 years, because looking at the moment, City is strides ahead of us, Liverpool is strides ahead of us, and we haven't won the league now for nearly 7 years. The last time we won it was back in 2013, in Alex Ferguson's last season. But we've lost 4 games this season in the league, and quite frankly, we shouldn't have lost to any of them teams. We lost at home to Crystal Palace. First time we've lost to them in Premier League history. We lost to West Ham 2-0, another game we shouldn't have lost. We lost at Newcastle just before the international break, and we recently lost to Bournemouth. I think the worst performance I've seen this season was probably the Alkmaar game in the Europa League, because in that particular game, we didn't register a single shot on target. But yeah, so it is going to be it's a long process in that, and Solskjaer is actually still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, and if he is still to be here by January, I think he's still keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do during the course of the summer. I obviously, give you my Manchester United Partizan Belgrade preview this morning, was it? I don't think it's long now until Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does his press conference, and I may be on later, to give you my press conference reaction. I'm obviously going to interpret some of the stuff, that he's going to mention throughout his press conference. I do presume he's going to give us some team news and that, building up to the game. Obviously, it's our 4th game in the Europa League this season. 4th game in the Europa League. Obviously, so far, we've won 2 out of 3 in the Europa League, and we've registered 7 points from a possible 9. I still am, very, very convinced that Man United will progress to the knockouts. But yeah, it is our 4th game of the Europa League. We should win this game anyway against Partizan Belgrade. Like I said, we won the reverse fixture by 1 goal to 0. The goal came from Anthony Martial from the penalty spot. And actually, even though it wasn't the best of performances in Partizan, there was still some good individual performances. Brandon Williams played well. James Garner in that particular game on his full debut also, did really, really well. And I did say, Brandon Williams, reflect on his impressive performances, will earn more first team promotions at Man United. And now, a lot of Man United fans do believe that is a better solution than Luke Shaw, despite the fact that Luke Shaw is our first choice left back. But Solskjaer definitely will make alterations in the squad tomorrow evening. He'll see this competition, just like the Carabao Cup, as more of a chance, to give the youngsters more opportunities and obviously gain them more experience in that. I do presume we'll probably stick with a 4-2-3-1, even though I think he should really go with three at the back. But at the moment, we are top of Group Mel. He'll rest key players for the game against Partizan, because obviously Brighton is on the horizon. Don't forget, like we updated you earlier on, Ashley Young is suspended for the game against Brighton. Obviously, he's got 5 bookings now, so he's suspended for the game on Sunday. And that's another question, why is Solskjaer playing Ashley Young on a regular basis? Why is it? And that's a question as well. It's something to do with the amount of injuries that Man United have had, where he's had no alteration but to play Ashley Young, because obviously, we've had, where he's had no alternative, to play Ashley Young. But is it due to the injuries that we've had at them fullback positions? This why he's been going out with Ashley Young? I'm not too sure. But actually, Wan-Bissaka now is our first choice right back. But quite a few times this season, Young has been playing as a left back. But we have still got quite a lot of injuries anywhere. We definitely know that Paul Pogba is out until the end of the year. Well, not to the end of the year, but he's out until December. Solskjaer's confirmed he will not expect it to be back until December, because Paul Pogba has got an ongoing ankle injury that's been surrounding the player for a matter of weeks. And, Paul Pogba has been a big miss in that midfield. And I still believe that he wants out of Manchester United at some point next year, because obviously for the entirety of the summer, he actually wanted to leave Man United. But yeah, Pogba's definitely not going to be playing. Matic, Shaw and Tuanzebe, they're all injured. Solskjaer confirmed they should be back after the international break. Matic has had a minor problem. Luke Shaw's out with a hamstring injury. He hasn't played since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace. And, Tuanzebe has missed, I think the last 5 games or so, due to a hip injury. Dalot, I think it's very, very probable he'll be missing the game tomorrow evening. I think it's actually unknown, when Diego Dalot, will be back in contention. Bay's still out until the end of the year. Obviously, we know that Fossil Mensah is still out with injury, but I don't think he's far away now from recovering. So anyway, with the injuries we've had this season, Solskjaer has had to make alterations in the squad. I obviously give you my starting 11 prediction earlier on. After the game against Brighton, it is the international break and that. Then obviously it's Sheffield United after the international break. I think some more players you could say should have recovered from injury by the time we do play Sheffield United, which I think is on the 24th of this month. Which is obviously on the 24th of this month. So like I've said to you, we're not in the position, that we should be in. And, I'm ashamed to be a Man United fan, and I've been ashamed to be a Man United fan now, for the last, 6 or 7 years, because, that's how inconsistent we've been. But like I've said to you, regardless of who our manager is, we're never going to replicate, what we did under Alex Ferguson. Solskjaer definitely can't invoke Ferguson's legacy, to save him at the football club. He can't. He just can't do this. And, I know, taking into account, Ferguson, didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United. Didn't win out in his first 4 years, but we know back in the old generation that, managers got the time, that they would have liked and that. But, we won 38 major honours under Ferguson, so the vast majority of silverware won came under Ferguson. Ferguson, developed a lot of young players, and Solskjaer's compatible in that aspect because he's, trying to recruit more young players at Man United. Ferguson also controlled a lot of the transfer policies and the contracts. But yeah, we did really, really well in that. But, the fear factor's not at Manchester United anymore. That winning mentality's not there. It hasn't been there since the Alex Ferguson era. But we've got to get used to it because, we're no longer under the Ferguson era. This is a total different era. We haven't been in the Ferguson era for nearly 7 years. You know, this is now a different era, like I've just said, you know, with different players and different groups that Manchester United are building, obviously. And, you know, this is what, you know, I'm trying to say to you and that. And, you know, Solsjaker recently, you know, give his overarching view on, obviously, you know, Fred and, you know, Pereira and McTominay. You know, I think, you know, we've seen glimpses of how good, you know, they can be this season. I think McTominay's done really, really well this season, and you know, he has deserved to keep his place in the team, because this season he has been a first team regular, McTominay. You know, don't get me wrong, you know, I've got the same perceptions of McTominay and Fred. You know, I don't know if they are the long-term solutions for Manchester United, but I think they do deserve to be given more time. You know, with Fred, I will agree on the aspect that Manchester United did overpay for him. You know, we paid just under £50 million for him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk. But definitely, you know, give him more time, because, you know, not every, you know, player does settle in straight away. Solskjaer said that Fred will fulfill Paul Pogba's position for a while. He has confirmed that. But he has done good in certain aspects of his game this season. Pereira's done good in a couple of the games. I thought it was abysmal against Bournemouth, but I think in a couple of games before Bournemouth, you know, he did quite well, did Andres Pereira. So, like I've said to you anyway, there's a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve at Man United. You know, I've got some element of concerns about certain young upcoming players, and this is why I did say it would be beneficial to, you know, loan some of them out in January and that. But I can definitely assure that Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, and even Tuan Zebe, they'll all become fruition at the football club without a shadow of a doubt. But we have got a pretty decent squad. It's just not, you know, good enough to win the league as yet. And I've been happy with Marcus Rashford recently, because I think he's rejuvenated himself as Marcus Rashford. And, you know, he's only 22 years of age. But I even did say during his long bad spell, I still said at that point he's the long-term solution for Man United. But he has rejuvenated himself recently. Fair play to him. You know, he's now scored 52 goals for the football club since he, you know, broke into the seniors team back in 2016. So far, anyway, Rashford has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. Being impressed with Martial. So there's still players that are, you know, have performed well this season, even though we haven't been that good. But the vast majority of them have underperformed. So the vast majority of them do need a reality check. You know. So they do, and so like I've said to you on my recent videos, you know, there's obviously about 3 managers I know that are on our agenda, you know, who could replace Solskjaer. You know, there's been a lot of talks about Max Allegri coming in. You know, there's been talks of Pochettino. You know, some people believe that Chris Wilder, you know, would be the right, you know, candidate for Man United or Arsenal. But yeah, but there has been a hell of a lot of talks about Max Allegri, you know, going on and that. And, you know, Max Allegri, some people believe, you know, whilst, you know, if he studies, you know, English more and that, you know, he could, you know, succeed as a manager, you know, in England and that. He's obviously not yet, you know, ever managed in England. He's actually so far spent the entirety of his managerial career in the Serie A, obviously, you know, in Italy. Obviously, he hasn't been managerless for that long. He only stepped down as Juventus manager at the end of last season. I think Max Allegri is linked with quite a few clubs. You know, he's linked with Man United. He's linked with Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich obviously have just recently sacked Niko Kovac, so however you pronounce his name. So they're looking for the replacement for him. And he's also been linked with the Arsenal job as Max Allegri. Do you think Max Allegri, you know, has got the managerial credentials to come and succeed at Manchester United? Do you think he'd have the right philosophy to the football club? Do you think he would bring the right calibre players into Manchester United? You know, he has got that managerial experience as Max Allegri. You know, he's been managing since, 2003. He actually had a 5-year tenure with Juventus, but he actually emulated himself up in Italy, because he actually started managing small various Italian clubs. Then obviously, like I've just said, you know, I worked himself up. There was a lot of speculation the other week saying that Max Allegri was in discussions with Manchester United, you know, regarding what salary he would earn if he was to be recommended into the football club. He said he'd earn around nearly £7 million a year. He wanted to recommend Patrice Evra as one of his coaching staff, and he wanted to bring Mario Mandzukic and Emre Can with him also to the football club. So he did assure quite a few things. Did you know Max Allegri? So I think he's actually our primary candidate to replace Solskjaer. You know, Mauricio Pochettino, there has been a lot of talks about him. Don't forget, after the sacking of Jose Mourinho, you know, I think at that time Mauricio Pochettino was our top priority. You know, I think Pochettino would do better than Solskjaer because he has got that managerial experience. He's well Premier League proven. You know, he's good at developing young players. He's Mauricio Pochettino, but the only element of concern I've got about him, he hasn't won out in terms of silver, whereas Pochettino, more than likely, if we do go in for him, we'll have to pay around £32 million, something like that, in compensation. Pochettino's got a 5-year contract with Tottenham, which he signed, I think, in the summer of 2018, with around, £8.5 million a year. But you've obviously got Mauricio Pochettino under intense pressure at Tottenham. You've got Emre under intense pressure at Arsenal. But a lot of people believe that Pochettino, you know, would be the right candidate for Manchester United, because, you know, he's mainly done good with Tottenham. Despite this season, I think he's done good with Tottenham. You know, he's now into his 6th season with Tottenham. He's enjoyed 5 good years, you can say. And he enjoyed a good spell with Southampton before and went with Tottenham. He only had a short tenure with Southampton. Before he was at Southampton, obviously, you know, he was at Espanyol. So Pochettino's been managing for just over a decade now, because he began his managerial career in 2009. But, you know, there was also Zinedine Zidane on our agenda at that current time after the departure of Mourinho. But our preference was just Solskjaer, and I think Manchester United were just seeing it as, look, is a cheaper solution. You know, he knows the traditions and that of the football club. This is, you know, probably why. You know, then, you know, Tony Cascarino came out recently and he thought Chris Wilder, you know, would be the right candidate for United or Arsenal. You know, Chris Wilder, I don't think he's got any intentions of leaving Sheffield United. I can honestly admire for what he's done at Sheffield United. You know, started managing them in 2016. You know, progressed Sheffield United from League 1 to 6 in the Premier League. So he has actually, you know, done really good job. So do you think, you know, he would be the right man? But yeah, so we've definitely, you know, got to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I even did say during that four game period, you know, I was happy with how we was performing, but I was still, you know, not getting too over excited, and that my perception didn't really change regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because it's like, you know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, so a bit steps back, basically. And yeah, and you know, like I said, I haven't seen any improvements under Solskjaer. You know, prior to the 3 months when he was the interim manager, I haven't seen any improvements under Solskjaer, you know, than what I saw under Mourinho, under Van Gaal, and under, of course, David Moyes. So we do need to see a lot of changes at this football club. I think, you know, Man United are going to sign Mario Mandzukic in January. I think he's probably going to be our first signing in January. If Solskjaer is still here in January, he will be our 4th signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Declan Rice, I think he's going to be hard to get unless Man United are willing to pay a substantial amount for him. Because there's been a lot of talks about Rice recently. There's been a lot of talks about him saying that, you know, we've identified him as our top priority for next summer. Man United will have to pay around 80 million because that's what he's rated at, Declan Rice. You know, there's been talks about Moussa Dembele. He's also on our agenda and that. But I think that all of them that I've just mentioned to you, you know, would be the right calibre players for Man United. So the only element of concern I've got about us getting Mario Mandzukic is that obviously he's 33, so you can say he's only got probably a couple of years left in his footballing career and that. But I admire, you know, what he's done for Juventus. He has, you know, done really well, and I think he'll be a good replacement for Lukaku. Obviously, he's a long-term replacement for Lukaku. But I think he'd do well for at least the next year or two if he was to come in January. He's a cheap solution as well. Man United don't have to pay around 9 or 10 million or something like that. This is what Juventus want. Don't forget the other week he slashed his wage demands in half from 300 grand a week to 150 grand a week in order to make the move to Old Trafford. But yeah, you know, very, very good player, and at least it'll add more experience as well in our attacking line, you know, if he does come in. Yeah. And I said, didn't I, after the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth last week, and it's going to be interesting to see how the likes of Gary Neville, Roy Keane and Giggs, you know, react to that defeat, because Neville did say prior to the game that it'll only take another, you know, slip up from Man United, and, you know, Solsjaker, you know, will be back under intense pressure. And, you know, Solskjaer's got a lot of honesty about him, and, you know, he's obviously aware of what's going on. He's aware of it and that, and you know, he actually, you know, he fears that our lack of quality, you know, could, cost us, you know, a Champions League qualification. But he's actually aware of what's going on. But my perception is the expectations are too high for him at this football club, and we've just got to get the right manager into Manchester United that can turn this football club around. Because, you know, and you know, there's nothing much really more I can say about that. So yeah, that's mainly everything to update you with, and. You know, I'll do the press conference reaction, you know, later on, if I've got time. If not, I probably, you know, I will do it tomorrow sometime. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys.